The naive victim, the skilled manipulator, a symbol of love and pain, the unhappy wife, and the cynical cheater. She has been described in countless ways, yet uncovering the real Diana has never been easy. But no matter what anyone says, Princess Diana remains one of the most famous women of the 20th century. A woman who broke the royal family's rules and paid a heavy price for it, because the moment she stepped onto the path to the throne, intrigue, loneliness, and an inevitable tragic fate were already waiting for her. This is the biography of Princess Diana, a story that still stings. Diana Frances Spencer was born on July 1st, 1961, in Sandringham, Norfolk, into the aristocratic Spencer family. Her father, Edward John Spencer, was heir to the Spencer Churchills. Her mother, Frances Shand Kidd, came from a line of barons and had served in Queen Elizabeth II's court. Young Diana grew up side by side with the royal family, even playing with Prince Andrew as a child. But her childhood was far from a fairy tale. From the moment she was born, she was a disappointment. Diana was not a boy. The family already had 2 older daughters, and a baby boy had died just hours after birth a year before. The pressure to produce a son was immense. Diana herself later admitted, "When I was born, my parents were disappointed. They wanted a boy. The children were raised by nannies." Diana later recalled that she never once heard the words, "I love you," as a child. Diana was painfully shy from an early age. When Diana was 7, her parents divorced. When her mother left home with her lover, Diana said she felt helpless and betrayed. Her mother promised she would come back, but she never came. This trauma shaped the rest of Diana's life. Education was not smooth sailing. She attended prestigious private schools but was never top of the class. Teachers remembered her as extremely kind, empathetic, and shy. Her dream to become a ballerina was shattered because she was too tall. At 16, Diana gave up on school. She abandoned formal education entirely and chose not to attend university. Instead, she worked as a chef, nursery assistant, and teaching assistant at a kindergarten. Her friends remembered Diana embracing a simple life. She avoided designer clothes, did not use a chauffeur, and walked to work. Those close to her said Diana struggled with deep insecurities rooted in feelings of neglect. Diana and Charles first met long before their wedding. She was just 16, and he was 30. At the time, the prince was seriously involved with Diana's elder sister, Sarah. They reportedly met in November 1977 at the Spencers at Althorpe for a pheasant hunt. Charles and Sarah were often seen together in public, but Sarah could not bring herself to love the Queen's son. Charles and Diana did not see each other for years. Their second meeting took place at Balmoral, where the prince was grieving the death of his beloved uncle, Lord Louis Mountbatten. At a barbecue, Diana offered Charles condolences. She told him, "You need someone by your side," to which he literally pounced on her and started kissing her. After that, Charles started chasing after her. From their second meeting at Balmoral until the wedding, they only met 13 times. Diana charmed the Queen so much that Her Majesty hinted to her son, "Then she is the one." By the time they met again, the prince had to marry. He had a string of romances behind him, including Camilla Parker Bowles. But Charles's choice did not sit well with the royal family. Her lineage and reputation were not up to standard. Then Diana appeared. She ticked every box on the royal checklist. From a noble family with a reputation as a quiet, modest girl, and most importantly, no known romantic history before Prince Charles. The royal court was in a hurry to secure an asset as valuable as Diana. No one bothered to consider whether a 20-year-old girl could handle the immense pressure. Prince Philip pressured his son, telling him it was time to do the right thing. Charles took it as an order. But why did Diana agree? She was drawn to Charles's age, status, and the feeling of being needed. And there might have been a practical reason. Under British law, the Spencer estate would go to the male heir. Diana's sisters married well, but the young woman could not count on a secure future without making a good match. In the fall of 1980, rumors of their romance surfaced. In February 1981, over a candlelit dinner at Buckingham Palace, the prince proposed to Diana. On February 24th, the engagement was officially announced. The wedding was set for July 29th at St. Paul's Cathedral. Almost immediately after the engagement, Charles left for a royal tour. "I thought it was strange that he never once called to check on me. Not a single call," the princess would later recall. That spring, Diana moved into the palace and her illusions were quickly shattered. During an interview when asked about love, Charles said, "And whatever in love means." For Diana, that phrase was the first major crack in her fairy tale illusions. Diana was left alone in her lavish quarters. She developed bulimia, losing 12 kilograms in 6 months. At my first wedding dress fitting, my waist was 29 inches. By the wedding day, it was 23.5 inches. The bulimia started a week after their engagement, triggered by Charles remarking, "Oh, a bit chubby here, are not we?" On July 29, 1981, the most expensive royal ceremony in British history unfolded. Broadcast globally, watched by 750 million. Diana's dress boasted an 8-meter train and glittered with 10,000 pearls. Walking into St. Paul's, seeing the world's eyes on me, I felt like a lamb to the slaughter, Diana admitted privately. Diana knew about Charles's ongoing affair with Camilla, who attended the wedding as a guest. Marital troubles began on the honeymoon, split between Broadland's estate and the royal yacht Britannia. "I had so many hopes and they collapsed within 2 days," she would say years later. "I spent most of the time crying. He would read in his cabin while I was alone on deck." From the start, their interests clashed. Charles loved gardening, architecture, classical music. Diana did not share most of his hobbies. The prince was absorbed in his books and painting, paying little attention to Diana. "I remember crying my eyes out during our honeymoon. Everything was wrong and I was so exhausted by it." Things got worse in Balmoral. "My dreams were nightmares. Every night I saw Camilla, she became my obsession," Diana would say. Another blow was her place in the family hierarchy. For Charles, his mother always came first, then his grandmother, and only then his wife. Diana was so depressed, she even tried to harm herself. 3 months pregnant, she threw herself down the stairs to get Charles's attention. Charles's response, "I will not listen. You always do this to me. I am going riding." A year after the wedding, Diana gave her husband an heir. Prince William was born at St. Mary's Hospital. 2 years later, Prince Harry was born in the same hospital. For Diana, motherhood was not just a duty. "I live for my boys. I would be lost without them," she would say. Diana made sure her kids had as normal an upbringing as possible. She enrolled them in school and drove them there herself, canceled engagements for them, took them to charity events. William was the first royal child to go through the full state school system. She made sure they experienced things like going to the cinema, not queuing up to buy a McDonald's, going to amusement parks. "Our mom was a total kid at heart," William would recall. "The first thing I hear in my head is her laugh, this wild, full of joy laughter." Diana's informality was not just about parenting. Her fashion choices defied royal dress codes. She wore Versace, one of the most provocative brands of the 90s. She wore off-the-shoulder dresses, backless gowns, extreme minis, and plunging necklines. She was the first royal woman to wear trousers to an evening event. Perhaps the most famous way she defined herself was through charity. After having children, Diana increasingly sought solace in the outside world. The princess worked tirelessly to bring attention to HIV/AIDS, becoming the first high-profile figure who was not afraid to hold the hand of an AIDS patient in front of cameras. This happened in 1987 at Middlesex Hospital. She backed charities helping children with cancer, homeless teens, victims of domestic abuse, war veterans, and people with mental health struggles. In the 90s, she took a stand against landmines. In January 1997, Diana traveled to Angola. She put on a bulletproof vest and walked through an active minefield. Just months after her death, the Mine Ban Treaty was signed. By 1985, the first official reports of trouble surfaced. The marriage had fallen apart. Charles openly cheated with Camilla. Diana began an affair with Major James Hewitt that lasted nearly 5 years. She was also linked to her bodyguard, Barry Manicky. When Charles found out, he had Manicky reassigned. A year later, Barry died in a motorcycle crash. In 1992, evidence of Charles's infidelity leaked. Around the same time, a private conversation between Diana and James Gilby surfaced. The scandal, dubbed Squidgygate, blew up. On December 9, 1992, the couple's separation was announced. In her 1995 BBC Panorama interview, Diana admitted to feeling miserable and under immense pressure. For the first time on national television, she acknowledged her husband's affair. "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." That line became legendary. In 2021, an independent inquiry confirmed journalist Martin Bashir used fake bank statements and lies to secure the interview. He exploited her paranoia, telling her she was being watched and marked for death. The interview was brutal for the crown. No one in its history had ever been so openly critical of the monarchy. The Queen was furious. In 1996, the couple divorced officially, where Diana lost most of her titles and privileges. She was stripped of her Royal Highness title and had to pay for her own security. By then, Diana had long since broken up with Hewitt. Her first serious relationship after the divorce was with heart surgeon Hasnat Khan. They met in September 1995. Diana was madly in love with Khan and wanted to marry him, even if it meant living in Pakistan. But his family remained unimpressed. When the relationship went public, Hasnat began pulling away. She made one last attempt to make him jealous. She accepted an invitation from Egyptian billionaire Mohammed Al-Fayed to vacation on his yacht. That is where she met her final love, Mohammed's son, film producer Dodi Fayed. On August 21st, they set off on a private cruise. Yet her close friends insisted her feelings for Dodi were not deep. She was still heartbroken over Hasnat Khan. On August 31st, 1997, Diana and Dodi were relaxing at his father's hotel, the Ritz. That evening, they dined at the hotel before heading to Dodi's apartment to avoid the paparazzi. About 30 paparazzi were lying in wait. Behind the wheel of the Mercedes-Benz was the hotel's deputy head of security, Henri Paul. Around 12:23 a.m., the car entered the tunnel under the Alma Bridge at high speed and crashed into the 13th pillar. Dodi and Henri Paul died instantly. Diana was critically injured. She was taken to hospital, but her injuries were too severe. Lady Diana passed away at 4 a.m. Diana's death was shrouded in speculation. Traces of alcohol were found in the driver's blood. High speed was also blamed. The paparazzi became the first witnesses. French authorities blamed the driver. The public pointed fingers at the paparazzi. Many conspiracy theorists claim Diana was assassinated by British intelligence. Mohammed Al-Fayed insisted Diana was pregnant with his son's child, a scenario the royal family could not tolerate. But an autopsy found no evidence of pregnancy. The funeral was held on September 6th at Westminster Abbey. Over 1 million people came to pay their respects. Lady Diana was buried on a secluded island at Althorpe, the Spencer family estate. Diana Spencer became a symbol for many, deeply influencing her own children. Years later, Harry would leave the royal family, breaking free from the system. Diana became a lasting symbol of defiance, hope, and self-determination. Not many could stand so boldly against a centuries-old system, head held high in that iconic little black dress. Our Diana shattered the ice-cold aristocrat stereotype. She showed that royals could be vulnerable, emotional, human. She talked frankly about depression, eating disorders, and postpartum struggles. I would like to be a queen of people's hearts, but I do not see myself being queen of this country. And in the end, she lived her dream. If Princess Diana's story moved you, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of extraordinary people who changed the world. What aspect of Diana's legacy do you think is most important today? Share your thoughts in the comments below.